Welcome everyone to another episode of Career Talks. Okay, so today we are going to talk career with respect to admin related jobs and with respect to Azure Cloud. So we have three experts joining us today from our Azure Cloud group itself, and they will share their experiences and they will also answer your questions with best of their knowledge alongside me. And quickly to introduce, let me share my screen. Okay, I thought it is better to introduce today everybody through LinkedIn. And there is also a particular reason why I wanted to do that. The reason is because whenever you are searching for a job these days, it is not only your resume that matters, it is not only your job search portal profile that matters. So these days, most of the recruiters also look into your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so if you do not have a decently good LinkedIn profile, do correct it. And in our group, we would be more than happy to help you. Okay, hope you know that we have a study group, or in fact, study groups for cloud as well as systems design as well as Java and few other things, where we seriously learn together and then grow together. Okay, so that said, I am Hatin Ganagatodu. I'm an author and principal architect. And let me quickly introduce our speakers for today, or the panelists. Okay, we have Vignesh. Okay, we have Vignesh, who is an MCT, who is a team leader, and who has a good amount of experience with respect to administration as well as migration activities. Okay, I will let Vignesh introduce himself, and then I will go forward with others.
Yeah, thank you, Hatin. And once again, good morning to all for this wonderful meet here. So I'm actually started my career with cloud and server in the year 2016. So initially I have started with the on-premises servers and managing the Active Directories, DNS, Microsoft Exchange servers, and some SAP servers. And in addition to that, Microsoft Dynamics databases, and these are all my experience. And moreover, as an initial career, we used to manage the CCTVs and biometrics as well. So in the year 2016, I used to do these kind of work. That is my initial career of my server and administration. So later I have moved to the different organization, and where every servers were in cloud, and I have started to work on Linux boxes and Windows, consecutively. For Linux, that is my first time I'm using the Linux and Office environment. For my personal things, I have worked on Ubuntu, but for server related things, it will be everything will be in GUI, unless Windows. So Windows has the beautiful UI to operate with, but there are few core versions available. In Linux, we have some core versions which will be very helpful while doing the processing of any services, right? So I have learned about the Linux over there, and later, we have migrated all the workloads from the standard cloud services to Azure. And so in the year 2017, I have started exploring the Azure, and yeah, so still it is continuing. So after Azure, I have worked on IBM Cloud, I have worked on Alibaba Cloud, but I didn't got exposure to AWS and Google. But I'm sure I'll get into that in short time, I guess. So yeah, so these are all my experience over my career path. So we will be discussing more on my technical aspects in detail later.
Okay, thanks, Vignesh. So let us move to Rajat. Okay, so Rajat is also from admin background, but he has a good amount of experience in the container technologies. So let me ask Rajat to introduce himself.
Thank you, Artin. Good morning, one and all. So it's a pleasure to attend this event where we can talk about our careers and where we can talk about our day-to-day activities. So let me tell you from the very basics. So I have started my career in early 2016. So it's now been going to be almost 5 years. And I started as a support engineer. That is a purely as a L1. So you can imagine me that when I started my journey for cloud, I didn't know about a single meaning of C cloud of the cloud, you can say. And but I have worked hard for that. And actually, I was very scared about the coding part. I maybe some of you might be scared about the coding and all, right? So I'm not scared, but I don't like coding, you can say, right? So but I believe that if you wish and if you want have a dedication to do something, so you can definitely do. So I have started with support engineer, where we are getting the tickets assigned. You all know what is the work of the L1, right? L1 desk. So I have done that. Then what I did, I have taken one of the course of this Azure, Microsoft Azure. That time we called it as a number. Now you are seeing as a Azure 104, that is Azure administration. Earlier it was 70533. So I have done that certification. I have prepared the note, I have learned it, and I have started giving the interview based upon my certifications. So that time I got a job. So currently I've been working over there as an Azure administrator. So this is about my journey, how I came across, and also I have started the trainings from the early, like from 2016. As I have a interest to train others and all those things. So that's why you can call me as a, like you can see in the LinkedIn profile, I'm City also. And now I will talk about the day-to-day activities, what I did in my organization regarding the Azure administration. So we are mainly into the servers patching team. So you can say internal security team of the, so every second Tuesday, Microsoft releases the patches, which we need to apply on the servers, dev and QA, UAT, and followed by your production. So these things we are currently doing. And also I have been involved in the Azure DevOps team, where we are used to take care of the boards and repos, all those things. And currently I have been working into the one of the migration project, that is from AWS server migration to Azure server migration. So I've been working over there as well. And a few more activities which you can say as a part of Azure administration in my organization is like managing the servers, virtual machines, managing the storage account, access keys, SaaS signatures, and all. We are the team who take care of the client infrastructure complete, that is in the cloud. So you can say me as a pure Azure administration. So that is all about like some glimpse of my day-to-day task which I am currently working and doing. And but just one thing I need to conclude or tell you guys that if you are working on something, or if you are just learning the Azure from the starting also, it's completely fine, it's good. And also I am just really glad that Hertin has hosted such events in the past also. And it's really nice that we are doing it for the community. So that's why I am a part of this panelist group, and I'm looking forward to for any further sessions in the future also. But just don't worry if you are not getting the job today, or you are searching that, don't be disheartened, but definitely you will get a job in future also. So this is all about I have to say from my side. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Rajat. Okay, so just to add, so for people who does not know, because Vignesh and Rajat both are MCTs, even I am an MCT. So MCT is Microsoft certified trainer. So you need to have some qualifications, like some certifications, and after that you need to apply, and you need to have some referrals also about your training experience, and then Microsoft awards you this certification, or even you can call license, to train on Microsoft technologies. So as a trainer, you get a lot of benefits, like you get access to Microsoft materials that are exclusive for trainers and communities. You get a lot of benefits. Even you get monthly credits to practice what you want to teach. So there are a lot of benefits for being a Microsoft certified trainer. So this, do not confuse it with a person who is training, who has got a certification. So this is a special certification called as MCT or Microsoft Certified Trainer, and both Vignesh and Rajat are MCTs. So let us move quickly to Saurav. Okay, so Saurav is coming from a multi-cloud environment, and he has been very passionate. I've been knowing him for some time, and let me give a chance for Saurav to talk about himself.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hartin, and good morning to everyone. My name is Saurav Datta. All right, so I don't call. First of all, let me start with this. Like, I don't call myself an expert at all, right? Because it's been 5 years in the industry, maybe more than that, but still I call myself a fresher. At least I consider myself a fresher because every day I learn some or the other thing new from the community, from internet, or in the job, right? And if I have to talk about my career, I have started with Tech Mahindra. It was college campusing. I started with Tech Mahindra and gone through 4 months of training, 17 hours a day, 6 days a week, that kind of a training. And I learned a lot of stuff there. After that, I deployed as an L1 administrator. Previous panelist has said that. So from there to transformation, right now I'm working with a migration as a migration engineer with Capgemini, and there I'm working as our day-to-day job is to move any VMs which is residing on premise in a VMware environment to Azure. So that's the thing. But apart from that, who are all part of this particular meeting today, or this gathering, or how do I put it? So for that, I would just like to say, boss, it's as my previous panel, I think Rajat said that he has fear of coding or something like that. So yeah, I have that too. I do not understand how that works, right? So who are all seeking for a job as an entry level or as such an administrator or anything? Nothing to fear. It's just time, and the best thing of what I can say is just study something, right? And to learn cloud, for me, it helped me a lot because I understand VMware, because that's the step one for me, like the physical server and then VMware architecture or hypervisor from Microsoft, and then cloud. You can understand any cloud if you have the understanding of how physical server used to work, like mainframes, and then how VMware and Hyper-V works, and then you are good to go with cloud. That's all, Hartin. That's from my end.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So, and one more thing. So, to all the people who are attending, okay, you have an option to ask your questions through chat and Q&A, but I would prefer you ask through Q&A. And so if the question needs more clarification, maybe we can open up a mic. But first step should be asking a question through Q&A rather than in chat, because chat we may miss, but in Q&A we can actually keep track of things. Okay, so now going back to Vignesh. Okay, so you can you talk a little bit about your MCT certification, whether it has helped you, because MCT will definitely help you as a trainer, but in your personal learning journey or in your career upskill, has it helped?
Yeah, it is actually helping me to upgrade myself with new things, like even for the interview preparations. For a few interviews I have attended, so I have prepared with that. So the thing is, some job interviews, some job responsibility doesn't have what we know, and what some doesn't have what we actually don't know about the cloud infrastructure. Recently, I got into interview, the one I was leading from Mindtree, and they are recruiting for Azure Stack. So I don't know about it, and I have explored with my MCT subscription. Since MCT subscriptions provide a lot of benefits, while we can communicate with other MCTs, we can communicate with and we can post the questions with MCT forum. So it provides a lot of benefits. Other than that, it got me like to explore more things. It is not limited to if I am having a own subscription, so I can explore a lot of things, right? And MCT provides it for free. We will getting around 7,000 INR for free in our account, so we can explore a lot of things with that. So like yes, I do explore a lot the settings like uh, SSDM, since we don't have any on-premises servers or something, even with our machine, we cannot able to create such big infrastructure. So we can create infrastructure in Azure cloud and install some tools to explore the things. Recently, I got a chance to look into the service manager, Microsoft SCCM and Microsoft Orchestration Manager. So I have installed with the Azure cloud only, since I have a MCT subscription, right? So it provides me the option for that. Yeah, it helped me to upgrade the things. If some people ask me the questions, if I don't know some, I will definitely try it with the MCT subscription, obviously. And there are a lot of resources available, lot of even for our own preparation, we have discounts to write an exam, around 50 to 70% of discounts we have. And the main thing to get into MCT is we have to qualify one exam. So AZ 104 is the minimal exam that we have to qualify. And if you have certification with, if you have passed any exam like 303 or 304, you might have get into MCT subscription. And the other thing is you just need to clear one more exam. So for trainers exam, or else if you have any past experience with teaching people, you can use that as well. So with the help of, I have my background for almost 1 year in teaching for the students in the early stage of my career, that's 2015. So I have used that to have MCT. So it helps all the people. I'm sure that it will definitely help all the people who are getting the MCT. So we are getting few Q&As. So which is better, Google or Microsoft? It depends. I would say you can explore anything, like not only limited to Microsoft, you say. So earlier AWS was in a peak few years back, and now Microsoft gaining its own market, So it depends on what kind of technologies actually you are going to explore. If your company is trying to deploy all the infrastructure in the Microsoft Azure, learn Microsoft Azure and know about that. So if you are looking for other company, just learn what they are actually using. It depends on what you are actually searching.
Yeah. Thank you, Vignesh. So we have also a few questions, and so as Vignesh mentioned, so MCT is definitely good, even if you are not actively training, but you definitely need to have training experience. And in my experience, it is actually when you train people, it is actually when you teach people that you really understand the things behind the scenes. Otherwise, when you are learning, you learn maybe 50% of things, but when you teach, you have to learn 100%, but otherwise you will not be able to teach effectively. And even if you are not 100%, your students will make sure, if they are good, they will make sure that you are 100% by end of that training program. Okay, so we have a few questions here. I want to do so yeah, first one is straightforward. I want to know how do I pick these certifications, where will I get information to begin with? So Rajat has already answered. I will also share it here. It is very easy. You can just search for Azure certifications in Google, and then you can look for the Microsoft page where you can see all these certifications. Okay, so that is one thing. And then next question is, I have 5+ years of experience, and I want to change my domain to DevOps plus cloud, and learning a lot of things. Could you please explain me, like, because I am kind of stuck here. Okay, so maybe I'll let Rajat talk about how an admin maybe can change into a DevOps track or plan to change into a DevOps track.
So if you are a Azure administration, like if you're working on the Azure administrator task day to day, so basically what is needed, like you are good with the servers and you're good with the various resources into the cloud, right? But if you want to explore to the above the track, like not above the track, you can say expert size of that. So for the Azure DevOps, so first you need to understand that what is the meaning of DevOps. So it will be like development plus operation. So where the two-person shakes hand, there one is from the development team and another for the operational team, right? So it's a basic combination of the both the individual involvement, that is developers team as well as operational team. So you need to know how the development team works, how the operation team works. So it has been said that if you are an administrator, then definitely 50% or 40% works is done for the DevOps, and rest the development, even if you know how to understand, if you are understanding the scripting, Python, or whatever it is, the language your favorite is, right? So if you want to explore for the DevOps side, you need to work on the various part, and you need to understand both the life of a developer as well as of the operational guy, so that how the code has been released into the pipeline, how it has been moving through CI/CD concept, and how you are creating the repos and all. Okay, so currently let me share you one of my experience that in my current organization, what happened, we are purely into the Azure administration. So one day I have given my session to my entire team, and I have asked them that whatever the things we are managing onto our local SharePoint, why can't we take those things into the Azure boards, right? So we have those things, and we have a sprints concept where we got a deadline for in order to work on that, right? So all these concepts I have shown to them, and they are very surprised that why are we not following this thing, because so it's like just you need to start learning. So nothing is difficult, nothing is hard. It's just on your depend upon your mindset and perspective, how you are taking the things ahead. Yeah, so this is all I need to say.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so there is another question. So here it says, okay, currently working as a full stack developer, having 4.6 years of experience. It's not like I don't like coding, but according to my recent market observations, most of the companies asking for cloud knowledge. So can you put some light on it? Let's say if I learn Azure or some other cloud, then how can I switch from development to cloud, or how they will take my profile? Okay, so before giving chance for our panelists, so let me quickly add one point here, because I have come from a very similar situation. I started my career as a so when I joined my first job, I came as a .NET developer, but again, the first month itself, I got an opportunity where the consultancy company which I was working for said, okay, there is a very good opportunity with a bank, and then if you want to apply for it, you need to learn Java for a month, and then you need to switch. Okay, so I learned Java. So your company is paying you for learning. So then what better way to learn? Okay, so I learned and then moved into Java, and then I've been a full stack developer for quite a long time. Then the cloud boom came, and then I moved to AWS. And so then later when Azure became hot, I moved to Azure. So people still ask me, okay, why I moved from AWS to Azure always, because I have a bestseller book in AWS, and then moving to Azure was challenging. So my advice would be you should be open for a change, what is there in the market. Okay, so and whatever you have learned until now, whether it is coding or whether it is scripting, whatever it is in IT, whatever you learn will never be going waste. Okay, at some point of time, it will be always helpful. And then one most important advice for me that I can give is cloud is nothing different from what you are doing now. Okay, so if you are doing development on premises, you can do it on a cloud also. And if you are doing administration on premises, you can do the same on a cloud also. Cloud is just like doing something on somebody else's machine. Okay, somebody else's systems. It has nothing to do with changing your career track. Okay, so it is just supplementing whatever you are already doing. If you are a full stack developer now, you can be a full stack developer on cloud. And if you are an administrator on premise, you can be an administrator on cloud. So it is just supplementing it and not just adding a new thing or changing your track. So in cloud also, you will call yourself as a full stack developer on cloud or full stack developer with cloud knowledge. So you are not going to stop your full stack development and then do everything on cloud. Cloud definitely have concepts such as serverless, where you can do more things without all the things that you are doing on premise. But definitely you are not going to change your track, but you are going to add more things to your career. Okay, and then let me give a chance for Saurav to talk about how his VMware or multi-cloud experience has helped him in his overall career journey.
All right. Thank you, Hardin, again. Yeah. See, as I said, I started with Tekken, right? So I've been trying to change my job from 2018, I guess. And I first switch I did on 2020. So it took me 2 years to get a job, like a job switch, right? And I was so nervous in the sense, like I was on a day-to-day basis, I was questioning myself, like, what am I doing wrong? So it takes only your preparation on cloud will land you a job. It's not a guarantee, right? You need to be, see, in the market, everybody knows everything these days, right? So you need to have a full package to get a job with a competitive salary. 30% hike everybody is giving, but you don't want to get into an average. At least you should not go for an average thing. So first, your resume should be, one pager. Obviously, go for the resume first. It should be one pager, number one. Number two, you have to beat that ATS system. That's how you get into a job, because what we are talking about here is all about job or switching to a new job. So once those things are sorted, you are landing an interview, first round of technical interview, or maybe more than that technical interview. There you can shine, rise and shine. And now let's come to this Q&A part, which I can see, right? A lot of people are asking, I have coding experience, or I'm a full stack developer, I want to learn cloud. What Hartin said, I completely agree on that. But again, what I have to say is, let's say previously, whoever is these previously used to do coding and everything, we used to know a terminology called mainframe, right? Now, previously, let's say you are used to have your snacks on a plastic bowl. Now you are going to do it on a glass bowl, and that glass bowl is cloud or Azure. So it's the platform is changing. Nothing else is going to change. How that mainframe the connectivity used to happen, any day you go to a network engineer, whatever he has done on the mainframe. Now that network got virtualized, right, through an hypervisor, and on a larger scale, that is in the cloud. So it just, the platform is getting changed, nothing else. And what helped me to land a job, what Hardin asked me, it's these small concepts. Like if somebody comes to you and asks you, like in VMware, we have an option called vMotion, and we don't have it in cloud. How do you manage that? So you have to have a core concept, what exactly vMotion does and what you can achieve in the cloud, because there is a same thing is there with a different terminology and a different level it works. So that's how it's the core concepts. It's the basic understanding how why the first question we should ask ourselves, why we are choosing cloud, not just because it pays money. If you are only concentrate on that, then it's a problem, I would say. You just have to understand. And like, being an administrator, I was troubleshooting a VMware architecture or a mainframe architecture or a physical architecture. Now I'm troubleshooting cloud. So why people switch to cloud? What is the main reason of it? Once you get that answer, you will figure out everything. That's all I did from my end.
Yeah, thank you, Saurav. Okay, so yeah, there was a question about I already have certifications. Okay, how can I become an MCT? And Vignesh has already explained it over the chat. So if you have a training experience, getting MCT is easy. So you all the things that is needed for becoming an MCT is mentioned here. Okay, you can just go to this link or just search MCT and then you can go through it. Okay, you can become a trainer, the benefits and all the process. So if you have some training experience, it would be good. And if you have a training experience with some company, and if they can give a recommendation, then that would be also good. Okay, so you can read out all about it here, and then always you can ask for help in our study groups, and then we would be more than happy to help you. Okay, so now coming back to one important question that we are getting. So Vignesh, can you quickly tell me about some of your experience with any migration projects that you did recently?
Yes. So actually, we are in a trading domain. So I know you know about, which is the most critical thing in the world. Like, if the services has been down for a minute, the brokers or the trading solutions providers will be in big trouble, right? So I'm actually in that domain. So where we have to migrate our workload from on-prem to cloud. So it is like migrating the databases, Windows application, MongoDB, MySQL database, and some PHP websites, as well as the Node.js applications. So what we have done, what we have done, we have created, obviously our infrastructure were migrated to Azure Cloud. So for this case, for databases, it is very easy for us to replicate among different servers. So obviously we can use Azure site recovery option to migrate our on-premises cloud, or we can use Azure Migrate. But we just wanted a simpler way to migrate our services. So in this case, what we have done, migrating a site is very easy. The website is very easy, because even if we have multiple website, and if we have a single database, or if a multiple database which were in cloud, that will be very easy to migrate. But migrating the process applications for the backend operations is a little bit difficult. In our architecture, we don't plan for, in the initial stages, our developers doesn't plan for multi-instance applications. So in this case, what I have planned, what we are in a team, so team of people have planned that migrating the databases can be done through setting up the high availability, or the mirroring, we can say. I don't know how many people are in SQL administrator, but I was into the SQL administrations as well. So I have replicated the database from on-premises to cloud uh, through merge replication and transactional replication. We have 3 different replications available. So we have chosen the merge replications. And for applications, we have created a proxy. So, and we have created the proxy on front end of the application. So that proxy will be act as the incoming and outgoing for that particular applications we have deployed inside the virtual machine or the on-premises servers. So the proxy which I have used is HA proxy. So you can explore that. It is open source. So what it does, it will just close up the connection and reopen the connection if, which has the lowest tick or the lowest TTL values. So we used to ping both the servers, and so it will start initiate the script, and it will just allow the applications from the cloud environment if this case the on-premises servers got higher response time. So since we have migrated the databases to the cloud, the only challenge is that migrating the applications. As I told you, that application has to be migrated without any downtime. So we have deployed a proxy on top of that application, and both the application has to be running. Okay, so both the two application has to be running. The main challenge is that if the two instance of the application is running, it will just place the two orders. If the investor is trying to place one order, if two applications running, it will be trying to place two orders. So that's what the logic is. So in this case, we have just down one application and the other application will be started working, because we have set the condition in the proxy that if one application with the highest priority will be going out of the particular route. So if that is stopped, the second one will be sending the route. So sending the signal to the outside world. So this is how we have configured. So it just makes us challenges, because at the time of we are stopping the application, there should not be any order which is coming in. And so obviously there are if there is a chance that the application will be placed two trades. So it was a very big difficult task for us to achieve that. Hopefully, since the proxy is available and with some conditions, we have achieved that. And for node applications, we are using load balancer on top of that. So with the help of load balancer, the site will be, since the database is also in cluster, so it will just communicate with each other, and it solves its purposes. But the window application is the only issue we face. So, and later, so after that, the not limited to the cloud, for all our services were managed by SVN, source code management. So that has to be migrated to the GitHub. So that was also the big challenge we faced, because there are a lot of tools available. But the issue is we just wanted to migrate with the history of the code as well. When the people just commit that particular changes. So we need an entire history. So I think I have used one application, SVN2JIT kind of application, and it provides the ability to download the SVN code and upload with since we have 5 years of data in SVN, so I think how much data we have to migrate from our SVN to GitLab. Since not only we have around multiple applications, and each application repository will be around 20 plus GB, because a lot of trunks, lot of branches were available for each and every application, and that provides a bigger challenge for us as well. And recently we have started making our application to Docker images. I was trying to do that, but we have dropped that project due to some constraints with the applications. And yeah, these are all the major issues we have faced. Apart from that, there are a lot of minor issues, minor migrations and other things are happening. Like we are not into DevOps completely, but I have developed a few PowerShell scripts that it will just fetch us the latest changes from the JIT, and it will just deploy the services like window application, executing the SQL script and starting the application. So it is kind of and for Windows, I created the PowerShell script. For Linux, I have used Bash script for that. So I was like developing few other automational PowerShell apps and Bash apps as well, Bash scripts as well. So for that, I'm using a tool, Visual Studio, and to convert the PowerShell script to the exe, because I'm very concerned about the code changes. So I'll convert that to the exe with the help of PowerShell tool for Visual Studio. So that is a licensed one. So the help of that, I'll create an exe. And always, if I do some PowerShell scripts or Bash scripts, I always encrypt the values. Somehow we just need to get the values either from the database or either from the INI file. Some people use INI file. I preferably use XML file to fetch the configurations from the from the XML file. So while input some while input some passwords or the username or the any credential has to be configured inside that XML, because we will be using the same application for multiple servers, right? So for multiple servers, we might have different credentials. So we have to input the same, we have to input the credentials into the XML file. So that has to be encrypted. So I have used some publicly available encryption PowerShell scripts and encrypt it, and I have deployed a decrypt script inside the application. So it will just decrypt whenever I place the encrypted value inside the XML. So if some people just open it and they are not authorized to open the file, even and they are not authorized to check into the databases or something, I just put the level of encryption over there, so to make the application security. So that's all. Likewise, there are a lot of things happened. I don't think that can be have been a single webinar. So yeah. So
Yeah.
if we got a time to have a multiple webinars, then we can discuss about each and everything detail.
Yeah, definitely. I think we would need a dedicated webinar in the future to discuss only about migration itself, because it's a huge topic. And then in today's world, almost everybody are now migrating things to cloud. So not just Azure cloud, so all clouds for that matter. And if you learn one cloud, you can definitely learn other clouds faster. That is my personal experience.
Yes, true. And one more thing I just wanted to miss out that recently, I mean, Azure Migrate, they have used, they have introduced that few years ago, and that will be helpful to migrate our web application from on-premise or the SQL database, virtual desktop interface, and some Hyper-V and virtual VMware machines as well. So Azure Migrate is used to migrate even our physical servers. So we can migrate our physical servers as well with Azure Migrate. So you can explore that as well if you are going to migrate something from on-premises to cloud. But it will take a little time constraint. It will take some time to migrate, but you have to plan for that as well.
Yeah, just to add there, Azure Site Recovery tool makes it a little bit faster than Azure Migrate if you plan it in that way. Not for the recovery, but for the onboarding systems through ASR.
Yeah, but the issue with site recovery is more like we can just copy the files and folders, system events, and SQL database.
You need to choose the system size accordingly.
Yeah. But in Azure Migrate, it will be like migrating the entire infrastructure. So it is not limited to the files and folders and the things. So,
yes, Vignesh, it depends on the migration approach, how you're migrating. You are migrating the whole, if you have, let's say 8,000 or 10,000 servers, at that time, whole infrastructure migrate kind of risky. So normally client sometimes chooses to go one application or 10 application a day like that.
Yeah,
so
obviously. But I'm just telling that these options is available in
ASR and
the
Azure Migrate. These two options are available for Migrate, and both are kind of going pretty good as of now.
But obviously my Azure Migrate takes a lot of time compared to ASR. So if you want your application has to be migrated as quick as possible, use Azure ASI. And if some people are working with System Center, then you can migrate your Hyper-V and virtual machine, VMware machine from your on-premises to the cloud with the help of, recently they have introduced the Azure token there. So you can connect with your subscription and migrate your workloads to Azure if you have System Center knowledge.
Yeah, thanks Vignesh, and thanks Saurabh for sharing valuable insights with respect to migration. So if you are new to cloud, do not worry hearing about all these things. So if you ever move to cloud, you will definitely find these terms familiar after today's discussion. Okay, so other than that, do not worry about anything. Okay, let me quickly go through a couple of more questions, and then let us go to Rajat again. Okay, so first one is, I'm a developer. I want to learn some developer-oriented concepts on cloud. Okay, so Vignesh has already answered in the chat. It is ACED 204 for developer certification. Okay, there are many things as a developer, and even Microsoft does not tell you that, okay, you choose only a development track or you choose only an administrator track, even for a certification such as DevOps. So some people were asking about DevOps, right? So even for a certification such as DevOps, if you see, you have two options. Okay, so you can either take an administrator associate certification and then go to DevOps exam, or you can take a developer associate certification and then go to DevOps exam. Okay, so even Microsoft does not say you that, okay, if you want to be a DevOps expert, then you have to be an administrator only or a developer only. You can take both of these tracks and then you can reach the DevOps goal. Okay, and then another quick question. I have 4 years of experience as a network engineer. Currently, I'm working as a level 2 support engineer for Palo Alto firewalls. I am planning to have my career in cloud security. Since I have firewall experience, I have expertise in network security. So to explore cloud security, what would be the right path and what should be my certification path or so sets that I can skill sets that I can get expertise in cloud security. Basically, I am asking how do I start and how to proceed. Okay, so this is a very interesting question. So if you are planning to go into networking, pure networking track, then Microsoft has a very new certification. I think it is still in beta. It maybe is at 700 or something. Okay, which is going to help you in that way. But if your plan is to go into network security with cloud security, so then definitely AZ 500 is the certification from within Azure. And personally, this is one of my favorite topics because my latest book was on AWS security, and now I'm working on Azure security. So what I believe is that if you want to move towards security, because security is a very good area to explore, especially for administrators. Also, once you are an administrator, you have various different ways, and security is definitely one of them. So my advice would be, do not limit yourself to only cloud security. Let it be AWS security, or let it be Azure security, or let it be GCP security. First, you have to understand the basics of security altogether. Okay, for example, you need to start by understanding the important concepts such as the CAA triad. CAA is not the CAA that we see in English movies and all. Okay, so confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Similarly, the AAA triad, non-repudiation, and there are a lot of things with respect to it. And then even though the certification from an Azure or cloud perspective is limited, you have a lot of security specific certifications, which I am also planning to write a few of them in the next a few months as part of my preparation for next book. Okay, so which includes maybe Security Plus or CASSP, or if you want to go a little bit into auditor track, then CISA. So there are a lot of certifications in the security track, core security track, not with respect to any particular cloud. And if you want to know anything about going in the security path, you can definitely contact me. I am also having a separate study group only for security, where I'll be exploring a lot of security related things, and then maybe we'll even be using some of those research information for my book also. Okay, so now another question from which has to go to Rajat because of his profile. So Rajat, can you quickly share about how Kubernetes experience or containers experience, or even containers knowledge can help you in cloud?
Okay, so thanks all once again. So actually, what I did, I started with the containers and AKS. So as you know that if you know about the virtual machines in Azure, you can correlate with the containers concept, because there you are having a Docker engine on which it is being provisioned, the container, right? So in that case, it is really helpful, since we got a lot of tickets on the AKS cluster. The node cluster was down. What are the issues you're facing? So I just go with the material which is given in the AZ-104. As we are a trainer, so we got the training that document, as Hartin mentioned. So I have read all that. It's really a good tutorial on that. So I have explored those concepts and deployed some web services also, web apps, you can say, web apps and containers and AKS. And also the thing is that in our day-to-day activities, some applications are based upon your containerized based applications, right? So where you are pulling your code from your local repository that is on your local machine. And in the same case, you are having a GitHub also. So I have worked on the ACI concept, Azure Container Instance and Container Registries also. So in the portal, Azure gives you the container registry, so that it is a central repository kind of, where you're managing all the code and all, right? So those concepts, just to tell you that it really helped me in my day-to-day task, in my day-to-day activities, what I'm currently working with. And AKS cluster, currently we have launched, or we have developed one website on AKS. So it really helpful in my for my side to stand on that part and develop the website on that in the AKS cluster. Yes. Yeah, that's only I need to do.
Yeah, thanks, Rajat. Okay, so quickly, one more question. So I am from Bangalore, having 14 years of experience in IT infrastructure in storage domain. Presently, I am working as an storage architect, managing data storage. I have no coding or scripting experience or knowledge. I've taken up a course on PowerShell, but honestly, I not very good. I cannot write a good script. In my career, I have never written any script. Now, when I am trying to switch to cloud, in my experience, my present skill is no more in demand. So I don't know security, database, and scripting. So honestly, I'm clueless where to go. Okay, so Saurav or Vignesh, one of you can pick it up, or even Rajat can pick it up.
Yeah, if you are allowing me to say. So am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. So Vishal, first of all, good morning, and don't get disheartened with this thing what you are feeling. We all been through. Maybe you have 14 years experience, I have 5. I have very less experience in the industry, but I would like to say, there is nothing called you don't know or your skills are not in demand, right? Yeah, so you have survived 14 years in the industry. It's a huge stuff. First of all, congratulations for that. And second thing, cloud, you start with AZ-900. Start learning cloud and you will automatically start relating to it. It's no big deal. And you don't need to know PowerShell or coding or scripting to land an administrator job. Or I think with this, Vignesh and Rajat can echo with me. Like, you don't need that kind of skill set at all. So first you start with SG900, then SG104, and then 300 or 303 for solution architect. You get that thing done. And next thing, I think we have to, little bit harden, if you don't mind. I would like this, with this question, I would just like to take this liberty to talk about most of the question. What I feel is here is with the experienced people, they have experience. Some of them are having cloud knowledge, but they are not able to switch the job. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, it looks like it is mostly in
yeah.
that
So
direction.
let me decode this, and Hartin, just keep this window in the screen, all right, where I can see, so it's easy for me to speak. Okay, so let me decode this thing to you, for all of you who are listening to me. Just pay attention here. See, as I've been looking for job for 2 years, and I failed and failed. I mean, you name a company, I have given interview and I have been rejected from there. Even I'm right now working with Capgemini. Capgemini rejected me for 2 times, and then 3rd time I got the job. And the other 2 was some other profile, and later on I hired for other profile, and I'm working in a separate profile. So it's a whole mess inside there. So one thing I have noted down all these 2-3 years, what I have spent 2.5 years. So first thing is the thing a recruiter knows you is your resume. And the challenge in India we all have is 3 months of notice period. These 2 things are the roadblocks are to switch a job. So when somebody calls you, can you join us within 1 month? Just simply say no. I need 3 months of time. You just simply can say like this way, I quote unquote, if I join within 1 month to your organization, what will be the notice period in your organization? And they will obviously answer 90 days. Then you just simply answer to that, like how you are expecting me. I'm being a permanent employee of an organization. I can join you within 1 month. I do not have any other offer in hand. And then they will not go further questions with that notice period again, ever. So number 1. Number 2 is your resume. Always get my LinkedIn profile, connect with me. I'll share how do you prepare your resume. So if you have 5 to 10 years of 5 to 8 years of experience, keep your resume. First of all, there is a difference between resume and CV. Okay, so resume, it should be 1 page to 2 page maximum, and CV can be multiple of pages. So, and your resume should be beat the Naukri searching system and ATS system in the organization where people are referring you to for some other organization. There you have to beat a system or a terminology called ATS. So get your resume ATS friendly. This is the second part. And third, you are getting calls. You will get hundreds of calls. Out of that, only 1 or 2 you will sit for technical interview. Always get these numbers in your head. You will get 100 calls. Out of that, 5 will schedule a technical interview. Out of only 1 or 2 you will get the technical round first, and then you go to HR round. So that's the chronology, I would say. So first you have to get your, how do I say, communication and the resume get fixed. Number 1, if you have the experience, you have the knowledge, you are surviving all these years, boss, you are doing great wherever you are or whatever the field you are right now having. It's not that if you don't know cloud, you are going to die or it's the world's end. It's the part of the process. You have to give some time. You will get to know, and don't be part of FOMO. It's fear of missing out. Everybody knows cloud. Why don't I? Why am I not learning this? Don't get into that. Okay. So you will get there. It just, you have to know how things are getting done. I made like n number of roadblocks for 2 years. And then when I finally figured out something, it clicked me. And I don't want to discourage. I don't know whether with this line, I'm going to discourage or encourage any of you. For the last 2 years, 2018, 2019 till 2020, I was not having a single job. I spoke to Hartin few days back. Right now, I'm having 3 offers in my hand, and I'm confused in choosing. It's not what I know in cloud. It's what I'm doing in terms of looking out for the job. It's just that. So a period there.
Okay, thank you, Saurav. So just to add to, so we are running out of time. So just to add to Vishal's question. Okay, so first, one thing definitely you can say is if you feel like, okay, if you are not able to, because there are a lot of ways in which you can learn. Okay, so for as a engineer, you have a lot of ways in which you can learn. You can learn from books, you can learn from tutorials, video tutorials, blogs, etc. You can learn from podcasts, you can learn from community learning programs like study groups we have. So we have study groups for cloud systems design and a lot of other things. But if that is not working out, definitely you can go for a coach, maybe not a like 1,000 people coaching program, maybe a close group, a smaller coaching program. So I quoted this example recently. So if you consider our Olympics gold medal winner, so Neeraj Chopra, so he would not have or may not have got the same results if he did not had a coach, right? So and that coaching is definitely not going to be cheap at times, because personally, even though I train people, I do a lot of things. I have also for my for getting better on the security, I was talking about a lot of other things, right? So rather than Azure security or AWS security or GCP security, there are a lot of core things that you need to learn for security. So I've also personally joined for a program for next 6 months, where I'll be spending almost 8 hours per weekend for learning that. Okay, so you have to choose a good coach or a good teacher. I'll not say trainer, good teacher who can mentor you and who can take you to next level. So that would be the last thing to do if you really, because if you feel like your case is different and if you need the personal care, that would be definitely something that you can look for. So in India, I have seen people taking less, people giving less importance to actual mentoring part compared to coaching. So in Facebook or in LinkedIn, I can see that people, because if you go to a training center and then you get the videos of that, and then people are selling it for 500, 600 rupees and all. And then people are buying, because if demand is not there, supply will not be there, right? So people are buying it and then trying to get better, so that so through those videos we can get better up to some level. But if you need to go to the next level, you definitely need to have a physical coach. Okay, so some quick questions. I have a 6+ experience in manual testing. If I learn cloud, how can it help me in my profile? I am in the dilemma where I can focus more, learning Java, Selenium, or go for cloud. I don't know sea of cloud so far. Okay, so that I can quickly answer. So as I always say, cloud is nothing different from what you are already doing. So if you should not be saying, okay, Java or cloud. Okay, you have to say, okay, if you have planned to learn Java, you can definitely learn Java. It should be Java plus cloud or admin plus cloud or .NET plus cloud. So it is not Java or cloud. Okay, so if you go as a developer into cloud, so you definitely have to know any programming language. So in general, from my experience, most of the people who are into development or full stack track, they choose Java or .NET. Especially C# in my latest experience. Or if you are going into a DevOps kind of role, then people may choose Python or scripting and PowerShell or similar things. Okay, so it is not or, so it is and. So you can definitely learn both of them together. But if you do not know the sea of cloud, so the best place to start is to go for a fundamentals certification, which is AZ 900 in case of Azure Cloud. Many people I have seen telling, okay, you don't need fundamentals, you can directly go to advanced things. But I always suggest people to go for fundamentals, irrespective of whether you actually take a training or not, or take a certification or not. You can learn a lot of things, because most of the other certifications, other advanced certifications, go deeper into any one particular topic. So as a good architect or as a good engineer, you need to have a depth of knowledge and breadth of knowledge. Most of the other certification, most of the other courses focus only on the depth part on one particular area, maybe administration, maybe security, but fundamentals AZ 900 gives you a complete overview of lot of things. Okay, complete overview of a lot of things, so that you after that you will have a clear idea about whether I need to go for a development track or AML track or administration track or DevOps. There are a lot of things on cloud. So all those things are being discussed in fundamentals, and especially with respect to AZ 900, the 25% of the syllabus is cloud independent. Okay, so you learn about cloud. Okay, you learn about cloud. You are not, even though it is Azure certification, it does not that 25% is cloud basics. It does not say Azure cloud or any particular cloud. It is cloud basics. So if you have that knowledge, you will definitely be able to say that you know the C of cloud. Okay, so I think automation or scripting is important for DevOps. Okay, I think a few people answered. Okay, so for in actual work, it may or may not be required. It depends on what work you do, but at least in my experience, because I also have people, right? So in my experience, most of the companies expect you to have some scripting or some knowledge around those areas whenever you are looking for a DevOps job. Okay, so and another reason is because if you have some scripting or coding or some knowledge, they can also check your logics. Okay, and then for DevOps and cloud engineer role, what are the core skills and set of tools? Okay, so again, Surajit has answered. Azure environment managing skills like understanding various Azure resources, VM storage, network. So there are a lot of things that you can learn. So that is why even you have different tracks within Microsoft Azure itself, right? Maybe we can have a discussion around Azure certifications itself. And another Vignesh, I am done with AZ 900 and fundamentals, also aware of most of the services offered by AWS. Okay, so then it comes to the next question, important question, whether you like coding or whether you do not like coding. Okay, if you like coding, there is a track for developers. If you do not like coding, there is a track for administrators, which is the topic for today's discussion. So maybe a developer oriented session we will soon have, and then we will answer more on the development track. But administration track, if you are not so keen on programming, that administrator track is definitely the way forward. Okay, and another one, good morning all. I have a total of 5 years of experience, 2.5 as support, L1 and 2.5 as a Windows admin. Patch management, I have done 900 and 104 certification. Can you please guide me how I can move to a cloud? Okay, Vignesh has answered. You can match your knowledge with job hunt. It is okay. There are few skills that is out of you, but you can learn before setting up interview. Okay, so for that, before we wind up, I'll give a very important suggestion. So if you go into LinkedIn, so I always ask people to prepare your LinkedIn profile correctly. So if you go into LinkedIn and if you set up things correctly, okay, if you have filled your profile correctly, so if you go to my profile, for example, I have filled in my profile as a cloud architect or a principal architect. So then if I go into this jobs tab, okay, so I can see some premium ones, which are maybe ads. Okay, and then I can see these recommended ones. Okay, so this is based on LinkedIn's algorithm that says, okay, based on whatever you have updated in your profile, these seems to be more matching for your next career switch. Okay, so then what you can do is you can actually go into each of these things. For example, cloud solution architecture. Okay, and then you can read through these things. Okay, read through key responsibilities, read through other things. Okay, so then I would suggest the students, at least you can go for a future resume approach. Okay, prepare a resume for next 6 months. Okay, so it is not for immediate job switch or anything. You prepare a resume based on these factors. Okay, how my resume should look like in next 6 months. Okay, so how my resume should look like in the next 6 months, and then based on that, you can definitely prepare well. Okay, so you will have a target. Okay, without a target, you will not prepare well, right? So that is one advice. So understand what is needed from your job role based on a little bit research in LinkedIn, and then easily you can prepare for that particular job role. Okay, so and a few other questions. Is it better to get certified in Google or Microsoft? It is completely up to you. So you can search for the market standing, job opportunities and all. So these days, in my opinion, there are a lot of opportunities for Azure, AWS, and GCP. Three of them are kind of popular ones. So each has its own advantages and disadvantages. So look for those job opportunities and look for the companies where you want to work. And then most companies will have a preference of AWS or Azure or GCP, and then you can prepare accordingly. As I have knowledge of AWS, so which one should I pick, Azure or AWS? Which one is easy to pick and understand? Okay, so again, it is an open-ended question. So I come from an AWS background, and I work on Azure. But again, if there is a requirement, I can work on AWS also. So if you learn one cloud, you can easily understand other cloud. For example, the common concepts such infrastructure as a service or platform as a service or software as a service or serverless, all these things are common across any cloud. Okay, so sorry, this is a weird question. I have a good experience in Java and big data development. How Azure learning is going to help me? Again, as many people were telling, so these days you go for any interview, people ask whether you have cloud knowledge. Okay, so Java and big data are not against cloud, or cloud is not against Java and big data. You can do Java and big data on cloud also. Okay, so cloud is nothing different. So whatever you do now, you can do the same on cloud. So it is only addition to your skill sets, not it is not going to change anything that what you already have. Okay, so there is definitely going to be a learning curve, but again, so you already know Java, so a Azure developer certification or knowledge will only add to it. You don't have to relearn anything. And same is the case with the big data. You have data related tracks also. Okay, you have to choose which one. So again, fundamentals would be a good place to start, because you get an idea about what all things are there on Azure, and then you can take a good decision. Okay, so would it be okay? So I am having 3 years of experience in Azure. I need to improve career growth. Which one? Kubernetes or Docker or DevOps? Again, these are also not separate things. Okay, containerization, in my opinion, is very much important these days, to at least to have a decent understanding for a DevOps engineer. So do not consider containerization or DevOps. So the demand will be for people who are into DevOps with the container knowledge. Not for not like I'm a container person without DevOps knowledge, or I am a DevOps person without a container knowledge. Okay, so I assume I answered most of the questions, and for other questions, Vignesh, Rajat, and Saurav has answered in the Q&A itself. Okay, so I see no question unanswered here. Okay, so chat, I have not been actively looking. Okay, so we don't want to delay much of your weekend time because of this. Okay, so we will have more connects. So do participate in our community learning programs. It is free. There is no reason you shouldn't be participating. In Facebook, we have more than 60,000 members. But again, there are a lot of ads and a lot of distractions there. So we also have smaller WhatsApp based groups as of now, which in future we may move to some other paid platforms such as Circle or someplace where every member can contribute a little bit so that you can learn together as a community, similar to Facebook, but without all ads and Facebook related algorithms. Okay, so basically they want to make money, and if you pay money, then they won't trouble you, so you can do what you want to do. Okay, so nothing comes for free these days, right? So if you are not paying, then effectively you are the product. Okay, so there is a saying. Hope all of you know about it. And then if anybody of you want to join any of our study groups, you can message us. I'll quickly tell the WhatsApp number. So you can message to +91, which is Indian code, and then 74111 74113. Okay, you can just message Java if you want to join the Java group. You can message SD if you want to join the systems design group. And if you want to join the cloud group, you can say cloud, and you can mention whether it is AWS or Azure or GCP. Okay, we try to connect regularly, and then we share knowledge with each other, and then we try to grow together. Okay, and it is not going to be a course or a session. Everybody will be doing their part in doing research, talking about it, and then learning and growing together. Okay, my advice would be not to only sit as a listener in front of video courses or blogs or any such things. Okay, you also have to participate. You also have to speak. Okay, only when you speak, your communication will improve. So communication does not mean your English grammar. It is all about the ability to convey what you have in your mind to people outside. Okay, otherwise, if you have all the knowledge in the world, and if you do not know how to convey those things to outside people, then there is no use for it, right? Okay, so participate in all these activities if you are having time, and also help others. Okay, so teach others, maybe come to a platform such as this and share your knowledge. Okay, you may not be perfect the first time, but the more and more you do, you will automatically become perfect. Okay, so the only way you can become perfect in communication is by doing it. Okay, it could be cycling, okay, or it could be swimming, it could be any such things. You cannot learn only through tutorials. You have to actually do it, practice it, and then only you will learn. Okay, so you can connect with any of us on LinkedIn also. I have shared the LinkedIn profiles today, right? And the recordings will be made available through the CSC Cafe channel. Okay, so please do subscribe to it. And please do share it with others so that we can make it a really good learning adventure. Okay, so let me quickly share it. Okay, so this is a CSC Cafe channel. So this does not have a URL as of now because it does not have 1,000 subscribers. So if you help us reach that 1,000 limit by subscribing yourself and asking at least 1 or 2 of your friends to subscribe, then we can reach that 1,000 mark, and then we can have a wonderful or short URL here. Okay, so I'll quickly share it in the chat. So please do watch, subscribe, and share. And most importantly, come and then share your knowledge also. Okay, so knowledge has to be shared, otherwise it is of no use, right? Okay, so that's it. We will wind up for now, hoping to see you all in our study groups. Let us all learn together and then grow together. And once again, a special thanks to Vignesh, Rajat, and Saurav. So I would have preferred to see you all on screen, but because of maybe technical challenges, we could not see you today. But at least we saw your pics through LinkedIn, and we will still keep connected, and then we will all learn together, and then we will all grow together.
Thank you so much, Hartin. Thanks a lot for arranging this. It means a lot for the community. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Saurabh.
Thanks, Artin. Thanks
Thank you,
all
Hartin.
for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you, Hartin, for having me here.
Thank you, Vignesh. Okay, so thank you all for attending this session through this live webinar or through Facebook or through YouTube later when it is published. And let us all connect again with another topic. So please comment in the YouTube channel what all topics you would like to hear from us through Career Talks. And then I will try to bring people who are capable of answering those questions correctly. So please comment what all topics you would like to hear, okay, like to learn or like to discuss about in future sessions in YouTube comments, and then we will try to arrange sessions based on that. Okay, so that is it for now, and meet you all soon in the next episode.